What's up, everyone? Today we are back with episode 3 of The Legend of Belmonty. I know it's been a little bit since episode 2, so if you want a refresher, feel free. Go back, watch episode 2, come back, watch episode 3 here. Reason why it's been a little bit since episode 2 is due to the holidays, the new year. Had a lot of family stuff going on, but through that time, it's allowed me to get an entire season done, plus almost a whole other season done. So we should have episode 4 out next week as well. But today, we got episode 3. Let's see how Jamie Belmonty and his men got on in season 2 at POW. So in season 1, when we took over, we ended up finishing in 4th place in the league and a playoff spot, just shy of being able to get to a final to earn promotion to Ligue, which unfortunately for us, Angers were the ones that ended up going up with Saint Etienne and Bordeaux. But with us getting so close, that prompted a conversation with the board of POW and Jamie Belmonty. The board told him, here are some extra funds, rebuild this side in your image. So Belmonty said thank you for the extra funds, and he got to work. Now, one player that was being brought in already towards the end of last season was Kevin Gamero. We wanted to keep that veteran presence here at POW to help us push for promotion to Ligue 1. And Kevin Gamero is a player that knows how to play in Ligue 1, so he can definitely help us get to that level. Then we paid $825K for a very, very solid pacey forward, and Ibrahim Sadiq. We brought him in from AZ Alkmaar. Belmonty wanted a central midfielder that can also play defensive midfield and that would dominate those areas for him. So he went to odds in Norway and brought in Philip Ronigan Jorgensen for £2.9 million. We also brought in some youth talents to help with the U19s, as you can see here. And then we dipped into the free agent market once again, bringing in players like Romain Sainz to play left back and sometimes defensive midfield, Sadi Diane for some youthful depth, Rodrigo Pinheiro for versatility, Sonny Layton to be our keeper, and Simbolc for some youthful depth as well. Plus, being that he's a central defender, he is 6'5", so kind of brought him in for set pieces. But then we splashed the cash on 2 more signings. Those being Eskiled from Lillestrøm in Norway and Dennis Ganger also from odds. So we brought in Philip Ronigan Jorgensen and Dennis from odds. We paid a total of £4.9 million to bring in Eskil and Dennis right there. There was only one major outgoing for us as well, and that was Mehdi Chahiri, who we sold to the promoted side, Angers. We got 1.2 up front, and it could potentially rise to 1.5 million with add-ons. So that brought the side to looking like this. This is how we would be built for season 2 here at POW with Jamie Belmonty, using that 4-1-1 for asymmetric. This side looks very, very good on paper. Hopefully they could perform like the team did last season and maybe cause a few upsets and maybe even gain that automatic promotion. So our season would start off against Stade de Reims, where luckily for us, we would end up having a pretty good showing, even though Mr. Nakamura put us down 1-0 early in the match, I think like 4 minutes in. But thankfully, we have a man named Jesse Lingard who would equalize things in the 13th minute. Then another veteran for us would find the back of the net by the name of Kevin Gamero. So both vets for us scoring in our first game, which was absolutely fantastic. Ibrahim Sadiq is going to find Jesse Lingard. Bionda, Lingard, back of the net. Lingard is on a brace. We're now up 3-1 in our first match here. And Sainz is going to find a lovely ball to Jesse Lingard, who dinks it in for a hat trick. So a 4-1 win off the rip against a recently relegated Ligue 1 side is not too shabby. Our second game of the season would come up against AC Ajaccio, which I was very, very happy with how our new signings performed in this match. Philip Ronigan Jorgensen scoring a great goal right there, as you just saw, and Dennis is going to slot one right here as well. And then, once again, one of the vets is going to score, getting his second goal of the season, Mr. Kevin Gamero. He looks like he's like 23 again in this side. And then Dennis is about to add a brace for himself here in the second half. So with another victory in the books, we're off to a pretty decent start this season. Then we had to play our enemy from last season that kept us from progressing in the playoffs. It was Angers, and they still are the bigger dogs, unfortunately. This game was very, very back and forth. But throughout the game, we could tell that Leighton just wasn't up to snuff yet. Hopefully, he would be able to change things throughout the season for us, because I did believe in him as our starting keeper. We still put up quite a fight. We would get a own goal from them, which was pretty lucky, as you just saw right there. But we did almost pull it back to even, as Ronigan Jorgensen is going to find Lingard, IU. It was a pinball machine in there, but luckily we got the goal. Unfortunately for us, Angers would find the beast that is Niane. He would slot one as Leighton was just left stranded by our defense. But we would fight until the end, where Ibrahim Sadiq would find Ronigan Jorgensen. De Almeida would have an absolute screamer. But that wouldn't change the fact that we would still lose 4-3. So we're 2-1-0 to start off the season. The transfer deadline, the first transfer deadline that is coming up very quickly. And we have 3 games within that time. How did we do in those 3 games, and who did we play? We would play Sochaux and beat them 4-1. Valenciennes and drew 1-1 thanks to a goal from Dennis. And then we would go on to beat Clermont Foot by a score of 2-1 with goals from Eskil and Jesse Lingard. And then this brought us to bringing in 3 players on loan and 3 players on freeze. First player on loan was Sofiane Alakouch from Metz, who we are going to have on loan as our right back. We would bring in a lone backup goalkeeper in Liam Bosson due to injuries to our goalkeepers. And we would bring in a young English center back in Jaden Warner, who is actually pretty solid, not gonna lie. On freeze, we would bring in Emerson, who was playing in Latvia. He is a very good Brazilian left winger who is great with both feet. We would bring in some more veteran presence on freeze with Eliakim Mangala to be one of our star central defenders. And then Sam Byram, who would be great for versatility. However, we would have some registration issues with these signings. We could only have a maximum of 2 non-EU players in Ligue 2. Currently, those spots were occupied by Jesse Lingard and Emerson, which means that Sam Byram will not be able to be registered until the second half of the season, unfortunately. For whatever reason, Jaden Warner was not taking up a non-EU spot because he is English, just like Sam Byram and Jesse Lingard. My guess was because he was in on loan. So with all those signings secured and a pretty solid start to the season, which currently has us sitting in 3rd within Ligue 2, we are ready to push on to the January transfer window, where maybe we can bolster the squad once again. So after that transfer deadline and that pretty decent run of games right there, even though we did lose one, we're still in the top 3 in the league currently at this point. We got a new contract offer for Jamie Belmonty here from PAL. They're offering 2 years for £3.3 thousand per week. So we ended up negotiating the wage a little bit, and they ended up accepting £3.5 thousand per week for 2 more years. So that question that I posed at the end of last episode, did Jamie Belmonty do enough to earn himself a new contract? He most certainly did. Unfortunately for Belmonty, though, there was no honeymoon phase of that new contract, as we would get thrashed 4-0 by Toulouse. Thankfully for us, we would have a good rebound performance against Amiens, where we would end up putting them aside 3-0 with goals from Jesse Lingard at the end of the first half. Then we would have a goal from Mr. Philip Ronigan Jorgensen, as Dennis Genjar is going to find him right there. And then one of our youngsters, Umar Nyam, is going to find the back of the net right here, and he is going to be one to watch this season. But unfortunately, something terrible happened to one of our players. And unfortunately, it was Mr. Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard will be missing 3 to 5 months due to a torn knee ligaments. So who will be replacing Jesse Lingard in the lineup, as he was our number 10? Well, it's going to be that youngster that I just said to keep an eye on, Mr. Umar Nyam. And you would think losing a player like Jesse Lingard, it would really cause us to kind of drop in a level of play in a way. Well, we didn't drop in play at all. If anything, we got even better. After that Amiens match, we would end up going on an 8-game unbeaten run where we were just outright dominating everyone. Yes, there may have been some close games here and there, but everyone was chipping in. And one player in particular was doing absolutely incredible for us. And that man was Dennis. If you have not had Dennis on one of your sides, Jamie Belmonty definitely suggests you do so, because he has been an absolute beast for him here at PAL. as within 18 total appearances, he has 12 goals and 5 assists, with 5 player of the match performances. So as we can tell by the results, and right here with all these green links, everyone is clicking on all cylinders. But that didn't stop me from bringing in 2 additions on freeze right before the winter break. And those 2 players that we brought in were Volodymyr Shepelev, who's a versatile central midfielder who can play central midfield, defensive midfield, or as a number 10 for us. An absolute beast of a central defender in Valery Bondar. Both Ukrainian players, both going to be big impact performers for us. And with those signings out of the way, we had one more game prior to Christmas, and that was against Troy, which this season, they decided to bring in Rome Jaden Owusu-Oduro on loan, who is an amazing wonder kid. Stefan Bajcetic on loan from Liverpool, who once again is an amazing wonder kid. Liam Delap on loan from Man City, who once again is wonder kid. And then they got Savio back from Girona, who is way too good to be playing in this league. So we had to play against Mini Man City, aka Mini Moneybags FC. That is what I currently like to call them, being that they are absolutely ridiculous with the power that they have with bringing in players. We gave them a game till the very end. As you can tell early on, 1-1. Emerson with a great goal for us. And right here, Alakuch is going to be finding Yam, who's going to slide in the back of the net, who has been on fire for us since the Jesse Lingard injury. Kid is very, very good, very underrated player. Liam Delap would end up making it 2-2. And for some reason, out of all the players that I named for Troy, there was a dude whose name was Mama Balde, who ended up stealing the show for them. So we basically are going to end up drawing with a dude named Mama because Gaimero slots home a third. So Mama, props to you. You're pretty damn good. And I also just realized he's pretty damn fast too. And post-Christmas, we would have our first Coupe de France match. And what do you know, our luck, we ended up drawing a Liga side, that being FC Nantes, where we would eventually lose to them on pens in what was a 2-2 draw. We really took them the distance, and I think Pau is really up there with some of these Liga sides now. And due to a game like that, we were kind of riding high. We thought, okay, we can really compete with these Liga sides. And then our problem came back because we had to play Angers again. And they decided to absolutely trounce us in every way possible. Beating us 6-0, dominating us in shots, XG, every way you cut it. They outright destroyed us. So even though there's currently only a 6-point gap between us and Angers, and we still find ourselves in third, they're a massive problem for us because we cannot beat them. And that 6-0 defeat prompted a tactical tweak from Mr. Belmonty. He went from this 4-1-1-4, he decided to go with this setup where it's a little bit more defensive. So Bato is going to be playing as an inverted fullback on defend, creating a back 3 when Alakuch overlaps. Now, we've got Ronigan Jorgensen playing that Segundo Volante on attack, and Eskil is now a Mezzala on support, so he covers that wide area that Bato was formerly covering as a wingback, and we have an inside forward on attack here with Emerson cutting inside, so that still allows Eskil to stay out wide, Emerson to cut in, kind of act like a secondary striker at times. So hopefully this tactical change really does help out. And by the way, Jesse Lingard is kind of back. So our first match after that Angers one with the tactical tweaks, new 11, and with Kamara back in net, previously the goalkeeper from last year, we would find ourselves down 1-0 early, unfortunately. However, Lingard would equalize for us from a header in the first half. In the second half, we would not score until the 60th minute with a beauty here from Emerson. Unfortunately for us, 10 minutes later, Mr. Mauricio right here of Sochaux is going to slot one past Kamara. But thankfully, luck was on our side, and so were the FM gods, as Dennis is about to pick up the ball right here, cut inside, take a shot, deflects off Fontaine for a 3-2 win. So with Jesse Lingard back, a new tactical system in place, we would really start clicking after that Sochaux match, as we would win our next 3 games. We would have a 2-0 win over Valenciennes, a 4-1 win over Clermont Foot, 3-1 win over Grenoble. Then we would have a 1-1 draw with Toulouse. Keep in mind, previously during the season, they beat us 4-0. So a 1-1 draw with them, we've definitely come a long way at kind of getting to their level, as they were just recently relegated from Ligue 1. And after that Toulouse match, we would play Amiens, which that was actually a rebound game earlier in the season after our 4-0 loss against Toulouse. This time, we have to see if we can win again after the Toulouse match, because this time we drew them 1-1. So, what type of outcome are we going to have here? Well, it would end up being an absolute slaughter of Amiens, where we would go up 10 minutes into the game. We would then find a second goal in the 38th minute, which honestly, we were outright dominating them in every statistical category. Emerson would find himself a goal as well, putting us up 3-0 at half. Rodigan Jorgensen is going to end up finding Emerson, who finds Lingard. He slots one home for himself as well, putting us up 4-0. I don't think anyone was expecting this for a rebound just from a draw, because it was against a solid team, and Dennis just added a fifth right there as I was talking to you all. Dennis then hits the crossbar, Emerson gets the rebound, we add a sixth, and then they're going to turn the ball over to Mr. Rodigan Jorgensen. Lingard slots one home for a 7-0 victory. So coming out and dominating like this statistically and on the score sheet really shows that this new tactical system really gels with this side. After that match, we would then beat Cavalier Rouen 1-0 and Bastia by a score of 2-1. Then disaster would strike again in the form of injury to the same player as it did earlier this season. Mr. Jesse Lingard tore his knee ligaments and will be out for the remainder of the season, and he did it during a training session. So it was once again up to the kid Umar Nyam to fill Jesse Lingard's boots. We had a really big game coming up as well against Le Mans FC, and we needed Umar Nyam and company to really go out there and perform, at least getting a point, because that would secure us a playoff spot. And what would absolutely suck is that early on in the 19th minute, we would go down 1-0 to Le Mans, even though they have absolutely no fans in their stadium. And we brought quite the group to come watch us perform. They would see us go down 2-0. This was not looking good. However, we have a player by the name of Umar Nyam, who would get us a goal back in the 24th minute. And in the 80th minute, thankfully, we have another man by the name of Dennis. He would equalize. He would get us our draw that we needed and secure us that playoff spot for the second season in a row. We would end up ending the season on a very rocky road of form. We would beat EA Guingamp 3-0, draw Paris FC 1-1, beat Chan 2-1, lose to FC Annecy 5-3, and then draw Stade de Reims 1-1. We would end up seeing Troyes win the league. Do you imagine that? A side supported by Man City winning a league. Angers would end up finishing in second as they would choke towards the end of the season. And then we would finish in third, Toulouse in fourth, and Stade de Reims in fifth. And if you remember from last episode, how the playoffs work is that Toulouse and Stade de Reims will play a match. The winner of that match then plays us. And then if we win that match, we will end up playing against the team that could potentially drop down from Ligue 1. So, who did we end up having to play against? We would end up playing against Stade de Reims. And this was actually over 2 legs. It wasn't just a one and done. The semifinal and the final were both going to be over 2 legs if we were able to make the final. The first match would end up being equal at 1-1 apiece, with Dennis getting another goal. That was his 21st goal of the season, by the way. But in the second leg, we would get to play at home, and that made a massive difference for us, as Umar Nyam would score a big-time goal for us right there early on, putting us up 2-1 on aggregate. Ibrahim Sadiq is going to find Dennis, who gets his 22nd goal of the season, putting us up 3-1 on aggregate. Things are looking absolutely fantastic for us. However, Mohamed Darami would get one back, so we're only up 3-2 on aggregate at this point. So, Ibrahim Sadiq is just going to let it fly right there, which really surprised me. I was not expecting that. We are now up again by 2 on aggregate. Dennis is going to net his 23rd of the season, putting us through to the final, even though Stade de Reims would net themselves a goal in the 68th minute, which was absolutely beautiful, by the way. So we've gone 2 steps further than we did in the previous season, as in season 1, we ended up getting knocked out in the first round of the playoffs. We got that bye this year, and we won in the semifinals. So we're looking good on a score of 5-3 against a side that was just relegated from Ligue as well. So what's the side that could potentially be relegated that we have to knock out this time? This time is Strasbourg, the club that is partnered with Chelsea. But unlike Troyes, who took advantage of the loans, Strasbourg did not. So at least we have that going our way. So we would have the first leg at home. And when we play at home, we usually do pretty well, which is good for us because Oumar Niam put us up early on in the 28th minute. However, in the 51st minute, Eskil's going to find Emerson, who slots one home, putting us up 2-0. We are looking good. We are looking like we could potentially be playing Ligue of Football next season. And Emerson, I don't know how that went in, but it did. I'm very happy it did, because currently we're up 3-0 on aggregate. However, Strasbourg is about to get one back here towards the end of the game. So after the first leg, we're up 3-1. We then go away to Strasbourg in a packed house, as they could be relegated, and they know that, so they score in the 6th minute of the game. But we have some Brazilian flair, and that Brazilian flair is called Emerson, who decides to get one back, have us level 1-1 in this match. Still ahead currently on aggregate as well. Keep that in mind, by 2 goals. Strasbourg get one back to bring it within 1 on goal difference. However, Dennis hits the post, Emerson gets the rebound, and us winning promotion to Ligue 1. And seeing Pau up to Ligue 1 just in 2 seasons under Jamie Belmonty's leadership is absolutely incredible. So how did things shake out for the players? Who were the big time performers in this promotion season for us? An absolute masterstroke signing by Jamie Belmonty to bring in Dennis Ganger. It really did shape this season. If we did not have him, we would not be going up, most likely. He was absolutely fantastic with 23 goals and 12 assists. In his last 20 matches alone, he had 11 goals and 7 assists, which prompted him to have some interest in him as well from Eintracht Frankfurt and, of course, Troyes. But even though Jesse Lingard ended up missing quite a fair bit of the season, he was our second highest goal scorer with 14 goals. He did chip in with 3 assists as well. We had Emerson with 13 goals and Ibrahim Sadiq with 11 goals as well. And Oumar Niam, who I said keep an eye on, 8 goals, either playing central midfield or as the number 10. Assist-wise, Dennis and Ibrahim Sadiq were our biggest playmakers, with Eskil being a very, very good playmaker as well with 10 assists. Emerson brought in on a free, 13 goals, 9 assists. Absolutely fantastic signing there. And Philip Ronigan Jorgensen, he is the little engine that could, man. This dude is absolutely insane. If you're at a smaller club, definitely try bringing him in, because if Jamie Belmonty did not have him and Dennis, promotion probably does not happen this season. And Philip himself is wanted by 12 clubs right now. So overall, who was the best player this season? Well, average rating wise, it says it's Jesse Lingard. And yes, he did play fewer games than Dennis, but we're going to give it to Dennis. Dennis was absolutely insane and integral to this promotion season. So we're going to do the recap stat-wise for Jamie Belmonty's second season. How did he do? So here in the second season, ended on 21 wins, 8 losses, 5 draws, 88 goals for, 52 goals against, 34 goal differential on 71 points, finishing in third on a 62% win percentage, playing those 34 games. So we played 14 more games than the previous season and still did very, very good, earning ourselves promotion. The win percentage did go down a little bit. It's kind of to be expected because better quality did end up dropping down to the league. But overall, I'd say this second season is absolutely incredible by Jamie Belmonty and Pau FC. So with a fantastic season in the books, I would say that the legend of Belmonty is off to a great start. And someone's taking notice as well. Who is that someone? That someone is Sevilla, who have offered us an interview.